So I just want to say a few words before we get to the rest of the program. We have certainly learned a lot this year, along with everyone else. Living Beyond Breast Cancer knew from the moment COVID-19 hit the United States that it was going to have a big impact on those diagnosed with breast cancer. There have been so many changes. If you're in treatment, you are often going alone. If you're in the hospital, you can't have someone visit you. So many people have had delayed diagnoses. So many people who are immune compromised because they're in treatment have really had to be very, very socially isolated. There has been incredible financial stress, teaching your kids at home, and just so many things. So in the words of my good friend and fellow advocate and breast surgeon, Dr. Monique Gary, she had a slogan which I thought really resonated, which was "Cancer doesn't quarantine." And I have to say, either does Living Beyond Breast Cancer. We have become louder and stronger and more visible since this happened. And let me tell you, this epidemic is having a really challenging impact on cancer. Let me just share some of these statistics, which really just blow me away. Mammograms are down 87%. Pap smears are down 83%. And colonoscopies are down 90%. So what does this mean? This means that we're going to see a big increase in cancer diagnoses over the next 2 to 3 years. So if you haven't gotten your screening out there, please, now is the time to do it. We didn't stop at Living Beyond Breast Cancer. In fact, we created new programs and more programs. And I just want to highlight a few things. We started in April. We pivoted and had our metastatic breast cancer conference all virtual and reached over 2,000 people. We did our annual Reach and Raise yoga event virtually and had over 1,000 people. We launched a new program called Knowledge is Power, Understanding Black Breast Cancer. We've reached over 450 Black women from all over the country, talked about health equity, implicit bias, and really addressed what do we need to do to change the horrible statistic that Black women die at a 40% higher rate than their white counterparts. We held our fall conference a few weeks ago. We have been producing regular video content on a whole bunch of issues. We've engaged medical experts from around the country. And of course, we have increased our Living Beyond Breast Cancer Fund, which we'll be talking about more. We know this has not just been a health crisis, it's also been an economic crisis. And our reach is higher than ever. So everything across all of our channels, more and more people are finding us and more people are using our support services. So tonight is dedicated to all the women and all the men who have been part of the breast cancer, Living Beyond Breast Cancer community, who are no longer with us. So please use the chat button now and tell us, who are you holding in your heart tonight? I know for me, there are so many, but certainly for me, it's always my mom, first and foremost, who I lost 10 years ago. So please put their names out there. We want to know who they are. We want to remember them and honor them this evening. So tonight we are celebrating you for being with us, for staying with us, for believing in us. We've seen a lot of nonprofits really struggle, but I can tell you that we're a resilient community. We're not going anywhere, and we're staying. So I am really happy to first thank our presenting sponsor, Daiichi Sankyo. They had agreed to be our sponsor prior to thinking we'd all be in person. And when the global pandemic hit, they said, we're still going to be your presenting sponsor. So I'm really pleased to share a short video from our presenting sponsor.
Good evening. My name is Gisu Dikotis, and on behalf of the entire Daiichi Sankyo team, I want to welcome you to Living Beyond Breast Cancer's virtual fall fundraiser, Strength in Stories. We're incredibly proud to be the national presenting sponsor of this year's Living Beyond Breast Cancer fall fundraising event, as we honor the resiliency of all those affected by breast cancer. Last year, I attended Living Beyond Breast Cancer's Metastatic Breast Cancer Conference. Through this meeting and other national and international conferences, I've had the opportunity to meet so many who are personally impacted by this disease and their families. I've observed the power of this community to connect and support women and men so that they feel less alone and more empowered to advocate for themselves and others along their journeys. While this year's Living Beyond Breast Cancer educational programs and outreach look quite different, the organization remains strong and committed to providing the same level of trusted information and community support they always have to more than 600,000 women and men. They are responding to the needs of the community during this global pandemic by producing original digital content every week to help patients navigate breast cancer treatment in a time of upheaval. Reducing social isolation in their private online communities, breast cancer helpline, and virtual conferences to keep women and men across the country informed, connected, and heard. Meeting economic needs by providing more emergency financial assistance grants to those who are newly diagnosed and face financial difficulty with basic needs such as housing, utilities, and transportation. At Daiichi Sankyo, we also are working to support all those impacted by breast cancer during this global health challenge and are more committed than ever to making a meaningful difference, both from a therapeutic perspective and by helping to ensure people receive the information, education, and resources they need to stand the best chance against the disease. None of us can do this alone. I'm grateful for all that each and every one of you do for this community, and I'm delighted that you've joined us for this special evening in support of Living Beyond Breast Cancer. Now I'm excited to introduce Living Beyond Breast Cancer's leadership volunteer, Sheila McDowell, who will start us off by sharing her powerful personal story about how living beyond breast cancer has made a difference in her life.
Sheila, I know I saw you for a minute. I know there you are. Hi.
Hi.
So great to have you here. So first, before we get started, can you show us what you're wearing? Show us your.
Oh, well, I have on my nephew's hat and my little cute dollar glasses. And I just have on a little green dress.
You look great. So
That's all.
tell us, Sheila, a little bit about your breast cancer experience.
Well, actually, December 2009, it'll be 11 years I've been living with metastatic breast cancer. My mom died of metastatic breast cancer in August of 2004, and then I was diagnosed 5 years later with metastatic breast cancer in 2009 that had spread to my liver and ribs. And I'm a 25-year Air Force veteran, and I found out while I was active duty military, I had stage 4 breast cancer. Didn't know Black women got breast cancer. The only person I knew that that was Black that got breast cancer was my mom. So there's a lot of things I had to learn about breast cancer and how it affects the Black community.
Yeah. I remember the first time I met you, Sheila, when you were being trained as a helpline volunteer. And my son had just enlisted in the National Guard, and I was really freaking out. And I just remember how reassuring you were to me. So thank you. I know that you are on a clinical trial right now and have been for, I think, more than 18 or 19 months. So I was hoping you could share a little bit about why you chose a trial and your feelings about that.
Well, I had a 4th progression in my rib, and I was talking to my doctor. It was July 2018, and I always tell this story. I was at TJ Maxx, and she said, well, you had a progression. And I was just like, okay, so what are we going to do? And so we talked about it, and she said, well, I have this clinical trial that you can go on, and you want to try it? I said, sure. And I decided to go on a clinical trial because Black women, we need to be recruited for clinical trials. And I've been on one since July of 2018, and I've been stable. So it's working. I think research is important, and I think, I'm trying to advocate now to make clinical trials more accessible to underserved communities and also to make them more patient-centered.
Well, Sheila, you are a tireless advocate. Anyone who follows Sheila on her social media, it's just amazing all the things she does. And I know many of you know this, but we are just absolutely never going to cure breast cancer if women and men don't participate in clinical trials. So thank you so much. And I know the drugs can be challenging at times, and you're doing it first for everyone else. So we're so happy that you joined us. And
Thank
just
you.
tell everyone where you are so we can show our national presence. Where are you sitting tonight?
Where? What you
Where
mean?
you live?
Oh, I live in Swansea, Illinois. I'm about 12 miles from St. Louis.
I know. Well,
And
that's
I
great.
thank sponsors too.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to keep moving on with the program. Thank you, Sheila. And we were really lucky that we had a wine sponsor this evening, who has been actually Traveling Vineyards has been a sponsor of ours for over 7 years. They've donated over $100,000, and we have a short video from them.
Hello, Living Beyond Breast Cancer and your massive, huge gala that you're having. I'm Rick Libby. I'm the Chief Grape Stomper and head cheerleader here at Traveling Vineyard. We are a nationwide community of about 4,000 independent wine guides who come to people's homes and celebrate and educate and entertain people. One of the wines that we feature is Rayado, which is a charity wine going back 7-year relationship with Living Beyond Breast Cancer. $1 from each bottle is donated to your cause, and we are so proud of the partnership that we have with you and appreciate all the wonderful, great work that you've done, particularly in light of the fact that both my mother and many of our top leaders have experienced bouts with breast cancer. So we really appreciate all the great work that you've done, giving people the resource to help them. So we'll keep up the great work, and you keep up your great work. Congratulations on a job well done.
Good evening, and welcome to the most fun you can have on Zoom. I'm Teresa Cole, Board Chair of Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I'd like to welcome all of our board members and volunteer leaders, many of whom you'll be meeting shortly. The pandemic environment prevents us from being together in person, but the spirit of our celebration endures, and we share our strength and stories. 10 years ago tonight, I was in a hospital room recovering from a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. I was surrounded by my family, friends, and incredible healthcare professionals, but I had never felt so isolated and scared. I didn't know if I would make it 10 years, but I found LBBC, and that gave me hope and a community. I could be scared, but I would never be alone. No matter what I was dealing with, LBBC was there with trusted advice and people who understood. I will always be grateful for that support, and I'm honored to serve as board chair of this incredible organization. Now, I'm a finance person, so let me share the numbers. 600,000. That's the number of people LBBC provided support to last year. 84 cents. That's the amount of every dollar that LBBC spends on free programs and support to people in need. 15. That's the number of years that LBBC has earned a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator, the highest possible ranking for financial health and accountability. 3. The number of successive competitive CDC cooperative agreements to serve young women diagnosed with breast cancer. In addition, LBBC has earned the Platinum Seal of Transparency from GuideStar, and USA Today recommends LBBC as one of the top breast cancer charities to give to for support services and education. But don't just take my word for it. Please welcome Laura Cowell, past chair of the LBBC board, who will share her story.
Thanks so much, Teresa, and I love your quarantine chic. My story is that I was diagnosed with breast cancer about 10 years ago. I was 39 years old and I had an 8-month-old baby and a new job and a new career. But I made it through all of that because I had an amazing support network in my family and my friends and my job. But as you'll hear tonight, not everybody has that. And that's why I was drawn to Living Beyond Breast Cancer, because LBBC really makes sure that everybody has the support that I had, and it evens the playing field. So your generosity tonight will make sure that LBBC can continue its mission to provide that community of support and trusted, reliable information to everyone that needs it. So I want to thank you to invited guests and photo bombers alike for your presence tonight, because it means so much to us. And with that, it's my pleasure to welcome Barbara York, a past chair of Living Beyond Breast Cancer, and her commitment to LBBC was always an inspiration to me.
Thank you so much, Laura. And it's great to have photo bombers. I might have one of my own. I hear her walking through my upstairs. I was first introduced to Living Beyond Breast Cancer and to Jean Sachs over 10 years ago. And looking back, it was perfect timing. I was at a point where I was doing in my professional career, taking a transition out of full-time consulting. And my best friend from college had just returned from a year-long trip around the world to find out at the airport that both her mother and her sister had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was just a striking reminder of how much breast cancer affects all of us. 10 years ago, next month, I met the LBBC Board of Directors at the home of Andy and Abe Morris. Andy, one of our fashionistas who kicked off tonight's program, to talk about opportunities to work with LBBC and to support the organization. And it's just been an incredible 10 years since then. I am blessed to have the time and the ability and opportunity to support LBBC in reaching more and more women and men impacted by breast cancer each year. And I have to share with everyone that our amazing staff and volunteers, and you'll hear from more of them tonight, their passion and their dedication is unmatched. And it's really important because the reality is that the need for providing support for people impacted by this disease continues to grow. So I'm truly humbled to be a small part of what Living Beyond Breast Cancer does every day. And I want to thank everyone who's joined us tonight for being part of our large community. And with that, I want to welcome and introduce the chair of the Board Development Committee, Gina Range. You're looking good, Gina.
Oh, thank you. Good evening. I'm Gina Range and I'm board member. And as Barbara said, development chair for Living Beyond Breast Cancer. And tonight we celebrate an organization that has helped so many of us during a very difficult time. And I can say that for myself. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, young or old, recently diagnosed, early stage, pre-Viver, diagnosed metastatic. Whether you're about to start treatment, you're in treatment currently, or if you're post-treatment and just getting used to survivor stage, like me, no doubt, just like me, as I endured my cancer diagnosis over this past 2 years, LBBC gave you a safe place to fall and provided you accurate information, helping to answer the burning questions that might keep you up at night. And that's something, peace of mind is something that you lose a little bit in the beginning with a cancer diagnosis in general. So join me as we celebrate Living Beyond Breast Cancer and the strength and stories that so many women will be sharing with you later during this program. And I would be remiss as a development chair not to thank you so much for all the donations that you've given us so far. We're almost at our goal, as Jean mentioned at the top of the hour. And you'll learn about the silent auction that's happening later. Make sure you download that Strength and Stories app to access some great prizes to bid on. And just once more, thank you again. I hope you have a really great time tonight celebrating one of the best breast cancer awareness, information providing, client serving organizations in this country. Thank you.
So I want to get to what I think is really the heart of what we want to get across this evening. Right before March, when we all got shut down, Living Beyond Breast Cancer was about to launch our new brand, and we were going to do a big advertising campaign. This was after 2 years of doing journey mapping and focus groups and surveys, and we created a new brand platform, a new brand promise. We updated our logo. And all of you have been seeing that. We did a lot, but we did cut back on the advertising campaign. But something we really, really wanted to do was create a new brand video. So tonight is the world premiere of the brand video, which we're going to show in a minute. But immediately when that ends, Shantae Drake Ford is going to come up, and you are going to hear from 6 of Living Beyond Breast Cancer's leadership volunteers. So you may not all know this, but Living Beyond Breast Cancer has a really robust leadership volunteer program. We train women and men from around the country. We have a program called Hear My Voice, which is all women and men who've been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. We help them to become advocates and to amplify their voice. We have another program called Young Advocates, which trains women diagnosed under the age of 45, again, to connect with others and amplify their voice. And we also have a whole group of people that serve on our breast cancer helpline. Our helpline is all peer-to-peer support. So you're going to hear from 6 women who are part of that core group. And they're really just a small reflection of so many more.
What does breast cancer look like? For a while, it looks like every day. Then it changes. What does treatment look like? Lots of things you don't expect. What does coping look like? The sweetest scent on earth. Finding a beautiful spot on your body. What does pain look like? It's all so different, yet somehow the same. What does hope look like? One moment like it used to be. A new friendship deeper than any scar, belonging somewhere. What does today look like? Right back in it. Endless meetings, birthdays, and beautiful chaos. What does breast cancer look like? A community made stronger by every story. There's more than one way to have breast cancer. Here's where we learn to live with it.
Hi, everybody. Hi, friends. I'm Shantae. I'm going to show you my quarantine chic real quick. You know, you got to have the earbuds, all right? Because that's a part of everything that's quarantine, right? All these webinars and video chats, my earrings, and then, you know, my fancy dancy jewelry and top, but you got to have the leggings. See the colorful leggings? Oh, man. All right. Hi, everyone, again. My name is Shantae Drake Ford. I am 36 years old, originally from the inner cities of Washington, D.C. I have grown up as a foster child. I am a farmer, a nurse practitioner, an Army wife, and I can't have kids due to cancer. But everything I've been through, LBBC gets it. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer in 2015 at the age of 31 as my initial diagnosis. The cancer has metastasized to my lungs, my hip, my rib, my spine, and lymph nodes. I also have a genetic mutation for colon cancer. I am triple positive. We preach about early detection, but I was delayed and denied my detection since I was 25 years old. I mean, it took 6 years to get diagnosed. I fought so hard to get screened earlier, but I was denied. Was it my youth or was it my race? I don't know, but either is wrong. Living Beyond Breast Cancer has been a great resource when it comes to the health disparities that Black women and men face, with known efforts to change and break the system. I was a part of the first virtual 2020 Hear My Voice advocacy program, where I learned how to amplify my voice even more. They're not new to this. They're true to this. Thank you, LBBC.
That was beautiful, Shantae. Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Gentile. I am 38 years old. I have to think about my age these days. And I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer while I was pregnant with my third son, Dean. I was in my first trimester. I felt a lump. I went to my OBGYN, who did confirm I was indeed pregnant, and she sent me to her surgeon. And the unthinkable happened. I was diagnosed pregnant. And I went through treatment pregnant with my son, Dean, delivered him, had more chemo, had a ton of radiation. And we celebrated right after that because it was a really difficult year of treatment with a newborn. A year went by and the absolute unthinkable happened. I was re-diagnosed metastatic. The cancer had traveled to my spine and my world shattered. I cannot get over this diagnosis at this point in my life because I fought that battle so hard. I thought I won. I had already celebrated. I was looking forward to being in remission, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. And it was Gene Sachs and Living Beyond Breast Cancer that really helped me get through that really, really dark time of my life with a newborn, no less. I'm sorry, he was around 1 at that point, but it was ridiculous. Like, it didn't feel real. And I could not believe that a CEO of Living Beyond Breast Cancer was reaching out to get to know me and my story and connecting me with all of these beautiful women who are going through the same thing. People like Janet Doherty, thank you. I cannot thank this organization enough because I would not have survived this second diagnosis without Living Beyond Breast Cancer. My boys are now 6, 4, and 2 years old. And they were going to come in here, but the baby fell asleep because he decided not to take a nap today. So here I am in my quarantine chic. I am looking fancy, but I got my slippers on and my pajama pants. So thank you, Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I don't know what I would do without you.
Good evening from Vermont. I'm Heidi Boudreau. From a very young age, breast cancer has played a significant role in my life. My mom was a 4-time survivor. She was one of LBBC's first volunteer hotline, as well as being honored 18 years ago. So with my family history, I was watched very closely with MRIs and mammograms. Throughout 15 years, I had 4 needle biopsies and 1 benign tumor removed. And during my annual exam 2 years ago, I had a mammogram and an MRI. The mammogram was negative. The MRI showed something, and I had my 5th needle biopsy and my diagnosis. It's been a journey these last 2 years. Gene Sachs was one of the first phone calls I made to talk through my treatment options. And then I got diagnosed with the CHEK2 genetic mutation and decided to go towards a double mastectomy. And it was coming from my father's side, so now I had breast cancer on both sides. After reconstruction and the basics of reconstruction, I was on tamoxifen and it gave me adenomyosis, which means I needed a hysterectomy, and that hysterectomy found another cancer in my fallopian tube. So 3 weeks ago, I had my last reconstruction surgery. It was my 8th procedure in 2 years, and I'm really, really looking forward to all that's next. Recently, I became an LBBC hotline volunteer. My husband and I co-chaired the gala a number of years ago. He sat on the board as well. And I really looking forward to finding different ways to make a difference through LBBC. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Heidi. Hello, everyone. I am Joy Jenrette. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I have been married for about 10 years to this wonderful and really supportive husband. I don't have kids, but I am an awesome auntie and godmommy to several little girls and boys. I'm a University of Michigan, civil engineer. Go Blue for all those Michiganders out there. And by trade, and also I am a non-practicing lawyer. But I've worked in corporate America all of my adult life. And if I kind of step back in my journey, I was initially diagnosed with early stage breast cancer 12 years ago when I was 25. I was knee deep in my corporate career, and I had just started part-time law school. My boyfriend, now husband, is actually the one who found my lump. And I was really super embarrassed for not noticing it myself. And after the shock of my diagnosis, I also had genetic testing and found out that I do have the BRCA2 mutation. And so on my dad's side, which increases my risk of developing breast cancer, but it at least let me know kind of, hey, where did this come from? And then, and a lot of women, it's not genetic for them. And after my treatments were over, I felt like I was cured. I had beat it. And then about 4.5 years later, when I was 30, during one of my annual scans, doctors found an early stage reoccurrence. And just as I was finishing my part-time law school program, and right before my 5-year cancer anniversary. So I had to start this somewhat familiar treatment journey all over again. And I was cured. But then 2 years ago, at 36, I was surprisingly blindsided by a metastatic breast cancer diagnosis. After I had a constant cough for, a few months, and I was misdiagnosed with bronchitis and adult onset asthma. And I mistakenly thought any recurrence that I would have would be caught early with my annual scans like it had before. So needless to say, when I was diagnosed with MBC, after being a 10-year cancer survivor, I felt like my journey was starting all over again. And it was a very new and different journey. And LBBC was the organization that helped me prepare for my new journey with the reliable resources and information and just really strategies on how to navigate my own diagnosis and balance my everyday life with just working a corporate job, managing my treatments and side effects, communicating with my family, and just really how to enjoy life and live with this disease. But most of all, LBBC has helped me find my voice from an advocacy perspective. I'm part of the 2020 Hear My Voice patient advocacy program, like Shantae. And this experience has really catapulted my advocacy journey. And LBBC understands that everyone's breast cancer journey is so unique, and their programs and resources reflect that perspective. So I was honored that LBBC invited me to join their board of directors for 2021 and to be a part of such a phenomenal organization impacting the lives of so many is just really exciting. I'm learning, growing, and adapting to this metastatic disease every day. And so I'm really passionate about sharing my own experiences and learnings and really highlighting the extreme disparities in care within my own community and the need for just continued research for new treatments for women like me who are fighting this disease. But above all, I really want to continue to help empower women to advocate for themselves, to get the quality of care that they really deserve. So thank you so much to LBBC and really kind of helping me find my voice here, and Jean and all these wonderful women here. So I'll turn it over to Courtney.
Hi, everybody. My quarantine chic is a little sparkle and a hot pink lip to symbolize breast cancer awareness, right? So my name is Courtney Shiabudin. I'm a 35-year-old woman. I'm a mom, a wife, a fellow nurse practitioner to Shantae, and I'm also a professor. I was diagnosed with breast cancer this February. My mom is a 3-time breast cancer survivor, and my dad's sister is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. Interestingly, we've all been tested for genetic mutations, and we've all been negative. I found my first lump when I was 24 and had a benign biopsy. And at that time, my physician recommended that I enroll in a high-risk screening program, which I did. I met with a genetic counselor, and they assessed my lifetime risk of developing breast cancer at 57%. I always felt, because of that breast cancer was a foregone conclusion. And because of that, okay. And because, sorry, that's my 5-year-old. And because of that, every time I went for any type of screening, I held my breath. In February of this year, right before COVID became a global pandemic, I received the phone call that changed my life. I was diagnosed with stage 1B invasive lobular carcinoma in my right breast and lobular carcinoma in situ in my left breast. Prior to my diagnosis, I didn't know any young woman with breast cancer. And following my diagnosis, I really struggled to come to terms with what was happening to me. And I didn't have anyone who understood what I was going through to talk to until I found Living Beyond Breast Cancer. LBBC helped connect me to other young women who were going through the same thing as me, and that changed everything. Because of the massive impact LBBC had on me, I applied to become a young advocate. And through this program and through this organization, I've made friends with so many strong, incredibly amazing young women with breast cancer. I'm so grateful to LBBC, not only for the resources and for the education, but also for the connections and the friendships. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brenda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenda Levin, and I'm here with my mom, Susan Levin, and my dad, Alan Levin. And we are toasting from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for the wine. We are really enjoying it. My dad's having a Coke. I am wearing a sparkly dress for the night. I really love glitter and sparkles. And so I was diagnosed on my 40th birthday with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer with innumerable metastasis to my bones. And I was diagnosed de novo, which means that that was my first time receiving a breast cancer diagnosis. I didn't have any early breast cancer. And in that first year, well, my birthday is in March 23rd. And it turns out that the Metastatic Breast Cancer Conference that is hosted by Living Beyond Breast Cancer is in April, typically, as far as I understand. Now, when I was diagnosed, I actually knew nothing about metastatic breast cancer. I thought I was writing my funeral plans, and I really didn't know what was going on. I was in a really deep fog. And my amazing parents here somehow found out about the Metastatic Breast Cancer Conference hosted by Living Beyond Breast Cancer, and they decided to go without me. They went on their very own, and they gathered all this information, and they came back from it, and they ended up telling me how it was. And I remember saying to them, did people look like they were they were really sick? Did people look like they were really struggling and suffering? And they said, no, people looked really like normal people. No, there was a couple people that looked like they might be, going through chemo treatments, but otherwise everybody looked really well. And there were people who were living 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years with metastatic breast cancer. And it was the first moment that I actually felt hope that I could live for a long time with this disease. And I was so grateful for that opportunity to have that little bit of hope. My oncologist at the time had told me I had 1 to 5 years to live. And I was, that stuck with me. I'm going on about 4 years now, and I have had progression to my liver, but I'm still feeling great and having a good old time. So many thanks to Living Beyond Breast Cancer and my amazingly supportive family. And I love you guys.
Love you
yeah, so thank you so much, and cheers. This wine is so good. Yay!
Oh, Brenda, thank you so much. And it's so nice to meet Mom and Dad. Can everybody just come back on for a minute? I know we're going to move a little bit quickly, but you are all such an inspiration. And I hope everybody in the chat will just, I know if we were together, we'd be giving you all a standing ovation. But we're so impressed with your stories and your resilience. And I think this really shows that this is what breast cancer looks like. It doesn't look like what I think you think it looks like. And I just appreciate everything you do for LBBC and love that you're in my life. It's my favorite part of my job is I get to meet the most amazing people. Sadly, I only get to meet them when they're diagnosed with breast cancer. So, but thank you so much. And we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna actually bring on, I'm just checking we're supposed to just quickly raise a toast. So do you guys have your wine? Let's just raise a toast to everybody out there. Thank Traveling Vineyard. Thank you for supporting this event.
Thank you.
So stay on for 1 minute.
Cheers.
Women, and then I'm going to have you leave. But we're going to bring on two really amazing people at Living Beyond Breast Cancer, Dr. Pallav Mehta.
Yeah, so thanks for having me and these stories that we're hearing. I've actually met several of these women and hope to meet all of them, but it has been a tumultuous year. In February, we're all living our life and not even thinking about infections and COVID, and the word wasn't even in our vocabulary. And now, as physicians, as healthcare workers, it is an hour by hour thought. It's changed every single part of our day. And as healthcare workers, we were nervous and our families were scared, but it's our patients that were really terrified. Suddenly, when they needed their loved ones the most, they were alone. During their chemotherapy, radiation, when they were in the hospital, they had to be by themselves. When they came for appointments, they often had to be by themselves. And it just made an already difficult time that much tougher. But it is always during these tough times that we get to witness strength, this inner strength that I have seen over the years, and I have seen much more even in these last few months. And never before has Living Beyond Breast Cancer and its mission been more important. Providing information and providing the right information and providing support, because now we can do it with social media distance. So I want to raise a toast. I want to raise a toast to resilience. I want to raise a toast to new beginnings.
Hi, good evening. I'm Gail Lipstein. This is my husband, Sandy. And we're here to raise a glass to toast LBBC and the nearly 30 years that this amazing organization has been of service to the breast cancer community. Jean and her staff have grown this organization multifold to become a highly respected resource for women and men of all ages challenged by a diagnosis of breast cancer in its many forms. When I went through my breast cancer journey more than 20 years ago, I found comfort and community from the resources that LBBC provided. I found myself referencing LBBC over and over again, especially as I connected with others facing this terrible diagnosis. And 20 years later, they have grown this support tenfold to help even more people. So from helpline peer support to the expert medical resources to the most up-to-date information from the research field, we can count on LBBC for the help and support to attain the best quality of life in facing this diagnosis. This excellence in service has been recognized by the national magazine The Week with a second time designation as Charity of the Week and with the highest Charity Navigator 4-star rating, both of which deserve a huge congratulations. I know LBBC holds a special place in the hearts of the thousands of women who have turned to them for help. So please join us in thanking the team with a toast. So
here's Living Beyond Breast
Living
Cancer.
Beyond Breast Cancer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sandy was Living Beyond Breast Cancer's treasurer for many years. We learned a lot from you. So thank you. And thank you, Gail, so much. Enjoy the rest of the night. Okay, so we're moving quickly. I know we're a little bit behind schedule, but hopefully you'll all hang on because we are going to move to recognize some of our past gala honorees. So typically we always honor 3 to 4 people at our butterfly ball. And I think we've honored over 80 people over the last 19 years. And it's just been such a privilege for me to get to know all these women. So we asked them to do a short little video. So I am gonna ask you to watch this little video.
My name is Kate Connors, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer 22 years ago.
I was diagnosed 24 and a half years ago and 18 and a half years ago.
I was diagnosed 5.5 years ago.
I am 2 years and 8 months from my metastatic breast cancer diagnosis.
I was diagnosed 15 years ago.
I was initially diagnosed with early stage shit. Sorry for the cursing. Initially, I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer 6 years ago, and it's been 1 year since I've been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer 17 years ago.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer 29 years ago.
11 years ago.
6 years ago.
I was diagnosed 18 years ago with breast cancer.
10 years ago.
I was originally diagnosed with breast cancer 8 years ago, and then diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer 10 months ago.
I was diagnosed early stage 8 years ago, and I've been living with metastatic breast cancer for 6.5 years. The 3 words that keep me going are family, friends, and research. Ian, he's my husband. Eloise, she's my 1-year-old daughter. I was diagnosed metastatic while pregnant with her, and my family.
Hope, resilience, and humor.
Live, dare fearlessly.
God, family, and hope.
Family, friends, and love.
God is love.
Gratitude.
Endurance.
Abundance.
Hope.
And joy.
And persistence.
Laughter, love, and connection.
Living Beyond Breast Cancer, friends, and yoga.
Confidence, courage, and champagne.
My family, including my daughters, my friends, and love.
The 3 words that keep me going are Abe, my husband, my fabulous family and friends, and of course, where would I be without LBBC?
That was so moving. Andy, you really nailed it at the end there. Where would we be without LBBC? Good evening, everyone. I'm Denise Portner. I was diagnosed 11 years ago, and my 3 words are family, faith, and community. In 2010, shortly after I finished treatment, I was part of a group of 25 women who were lucky to be featured in a White House Black Market photo shoot in Manhattan. As part of the company's 25th anniversary, brand president Donna Noche took us under her wing, recorded our stories, and treated us to styling from the city's best hair and makeup artists. It was a profound experience for women whose bodies had been through so much to suddenly feel beautiful. I don't know if you can see this, but this is an ad we were in Self magazine. A decade later, we're now just a group of 20, having lost a 5th member just 2 weeks ago. We feel these losses acutely, and our Forever 25 team honors their memory every year at the Reach and Raise Yoga event. In 2014, I received the Going Beyond Award, an experience that touched me deeply. It was one of the last times my mother and my mother-in-law could enjoy a special evening. My mother passed away 3 years ago, and my mother-in-law suffers from severe dementia. Through our triumphs and tragedies, LBBC has been there. LBBC's incredible leadership never stops innovating and never stops asking how it can be more relevant and more inclusive. And so no matter what the future brings, I take heart knowing our LBBC community is there for us. I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I just wanted to say a few words about what it's been like for me to honor all of these amazing people at the gala. And I wanted to say that every time I call someone after they've been selected to be an honoree, the first thing they say to me is, why are you honoring me? Like, I didn't do anything. I just got breast cancer. But in fact, all of you are doing something by sharing your stories, making the road easier for other people. You know, it wasn't that long ago that women were diagnosed with breast cancer. They went home with disfiguring surgeries, trying to manage really difficult treatments, and they told no one. And now there are so many ways to connect. So just by being there and saying things really does make a difference. I know people are already putting in their chat their 3 words. So please keep doing that. Please keep telling us when you were diagnosed. And since, you know, I'm here, I'm going to give you my 3 words. They're definitely family. And for that, it's my husband and my son, but also my amazing nieces. And a bunch of them are watching. So Amber, Camille, Chloe, Evie, and Marin. I'm so lucky to have all these women in my niece family. Also my dog, who I include part of my family. My friends who are just incredible, and many of them are watching tonight. And then, of course, the Wissahickon, because for those of you that live in the Northwest Philadelphia, it's really been so great to be able to walk in the Wissahickon. All right, we're going to do our most tricky thing right now, which is we're going to try to bring on as many of the honorees as we can. Oh, wait, we're not going to do that yet. I'm sorry. Denise, you can pop off for a minute, and we're going to bring on Judy Weinstein and Jenny Burkholder, who are going to make a toast to all the honorees, and then we're going to try to bring as many of them on as possible. So I know Judy and Jenny are together. They're outside. I'm hoping they still have internet connection. There they are. Can't hear you. Unmute, unmute.
Hold you. Hi, everybody. I'm Judy Weinstein. And I'm Jenny Burkholder. We are so excited to be here tonight. Jenny has offered her beautiful home. We're here under the stars, and it is just a gorgeous night. 4 years ago, Living Beyond Breast Cancer honored me and Jenny and our remarkable and loving and just amazing friend, Ayana, who exuded positivity wherever she went. Sadly, so much has changed since that night. Just months after the benefit, Ayana lost her battle with breast cancer. Ayana, we feel your light tonight, and we feel your light shining in our lives. And like we said, so much has changed in the last 4 years, even more changed today, but we don't have to get into that right now. But there's a few things that remain the same. The steady bonds that have formed because of living beyond breast cancer can't be broken. The important information that we get from living beyond breast cancer keeps on coming. Most importantly, we have and never will lose our ability to celebrate our collective strength with LBBC. Here's to all the honorees that came before us, all the honorees that came after us, and all the honorees that are yet to come. And here's to LBBC, our constant in this ever-changing world. Cheers.
Everybody that's listening, you are all amazing supporters and participants. And I know together we're going to hit this number. We are all going to thrive together. We're going to support our survivors, recognize our warriors, and we are literally all in this together as a real community. So I cannot thank you enough, and really love to all of you.
Oh, thank you, Teresa. And thank you to everybody for being here, for hanging in with us. We know this is a weird year, and sometimes you just say, we're just not going to do anything. But you know what? We have to do things. We have to stay together. We have to find ways to connect. So I appreciate it. I've loved reading the chat. It really does make you feel like you are part of a bigger community.